You have given everything for this country. Some people, and I don't mean that as patronizing you or overstating. That's an understatement. Do some homework on Colonel Cucullu, and you'll realize that this man is the soldier's soldier, and he really stands up for the people who are standing up for us. And you've written extensively. You've written books about Inside Gitmo, the book Inside Gitmo, talking about what really happened down in Gitmo and what was going on and how the prisoners were treated when the smear campaign was going on at that point. You wrote Separated at Birth originally to honor those in the forgotten war. You've written the book with your wife, that being Warrior Police. And it is examining what our soldiers, and in the case of Warrior Police, rolling with America's military police in the world's troubled spots, is a way to tell the truth about what our soldiers and men and women are experiencing in the field of battle. When you hear Mohammed Karzai, the president of Afghanistan, talk about respecting Afghanistan's sovereignty after we had a deal in which he would not release these prisoners with American blood and a lot of American blood on their hands without trying them, what's your response? And could you tell me what that does? I know what it does for us out in the laity who are talking about these, love our country, love people who are serving us, but what does it do to the soldier?
Well, I guess a lot of what I feel probably wouldn't be fit and proper for AFR radio right now. It's but you know, it does tend to bring the old soldier out in me, and you know, I've been getting emails from all over and talking to some of my friends, and the disgust and the bitterness that's out there right now is immeasurable, Crane. The sense of betrayal, the sense of futility, and the questioning, which has already been out there for a long time, is this really worth the sacrifice that we're going through for, you know, for this corrupt regime? I'm talking about Karzai's regime right now. Is this really worth it? In the last several years, really since the Obama administration, we've seen double the number of deaths in Afghanistan that we had seen in the time prior to that. We've seen increasingly, and I know the listeners are aware of this so-called blue on or green on blue, where our supposed Afghan allies are the ones actually killing our soldiers and civilians, and we've seen the levels of corruption off the charts. I mean, frankly, I was, you know, personally and professionally opposed to Karzai from the start because I and others knew he was a crook, and he's just done nothing but demonstrate that. And not only is he a crook, but he's an ungrateful crook. You can bet your bottom dollar that after the U.S. pulls out, if he's left to fend for himself, the Taliban's going to put his head on a pike if he doesn't flee the country first and start living off his Swiss bank accounts. But the amount of blood and treasure that we've put into Afghanistan for really no purpose after the initial attack accomplished our goals, I think has been illustrative of our lack of geopolitical savvy at the highest levels in both parties, but particularly the Democrat Party, and our unwillingness to face the reality of life as it really is in the early 21st century. So, in a nutshell, I guess right now what you're going to see is an incredible amount of bitterness, similar to what a lot of us felt in 1975 when we watched the films of Saigon falling to the North Vietnamese.
How does the impact of that, if it's analogous in that way, and I know you've drawn analogies to Carter and saying President Obama and the way he's handled things is worse than Carter. Not putting words in your mouth, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but how are the ripple effects? Are they more detrimental? Are they going to have more of a deleterious effect on our ability to really defend ourselves and not, organizationally as well as strategically? How does this impact us?
I think
Communism
it's got an
versus
impact across the board, Crane. Number one is that let's look at strategic, which is basically positioning of our geopolitical forces, both diplomatic and military, around the world. We're in a huge cutback there. We continue to pontificate at the highest levels of government, both state and the administration itself, the executive, on how certain things are not going to be tolerated, how we're not going to permit certain things, how we're going to do this and do that. And our enemies look at us and say, these people are paper tigers. It's all show and no go. This is all talk. There's no backing of the talk. They abandoned Iraq. They're abandoning the few allies we do have in Afghanistan. And we look at the lack of support for our primary ally in the Middle East, Israel.
Mm-hmm.
We look at what I'm beginning to think is going to be an abandonment of Taiwan and possibly even Japan and South Korea ultimately, if this is allowed to run its course. And there's no point in wondering what our enemies are thinking about this, because what they're doing is rushing as rapidly as they can to fill the power vacuum. I mean, when did you ever think 5-10 years ago that you'd see a time when the Chinese are on the moon and the United States can't launch an astronaut into space? When did we see the time when we are backing our Persian Gulf carrier groups out of the Persian Gulf and then pretending it's a diplomatic triumph? Where we're going is in my opinion, a course of slow national suicide. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's common to say that democracies are never overthrown; they simply commit suicide. And when I look at what we're doing domestically, what we're doing internationally, and what our sense of values and our
Yes.
current judgment are, I just can't see any future in this.
Colonel Gordon Cucullu, Valhalla Project. Post-show, I will be posting the link up and how to connect to be a part and learn more about that. Colonel is back in the lineup, and we're blessed to have him, and I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
I'll try to be a little more cheerful next time.
Hey, no, just keep telling us the truth, man. And we're praying for your full recovery, brother. And thank you sincerely, sir, for always being a part of this program, which you always will be and are. Thank you, my friend.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate the audience. Thank you.
Back at you. Thank you, sir. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.